Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dumbass Podcast. I am Winter.
I am Zach Goldpickman.
And I am Pyrite.
And yeah, wow, this is taking less time than you guys are normally used to when it comes to waiting for the podcast. But that being said, even though it hasn't been the longest, we still have quite a bit to talk about. So as always, let's start us out with some small talk, gentlemen. What's been happening? Because I know I got some stuff, but I will open the floor to you both first.
So I feel like anyone who's listening to this probably knows what the fuck Digital Circus is.
Probably.
I'm pretty sure in the time that has passed since the last podcast episode, I have kind of expanded in watching the other shit that Glitch has published, namely their other super hit show, Murder Drones.
Right, of course.
It became my hyperfixation for a good bit after.
I mean, it's a pretty good show. And there's also the new Gaslight District that came out.
Yeah.
There's only one of that right now, but it's still cool.
Yeah. And then there was the whole thing where fucking Daco was in his leaking video, he proposed doing a collaboration with Hex to do an animated adaptation of the comic series.
He already knows Kovac because he's Guy and Splitter, so I mean, I could see it, I really could.
So, speaking of Glitch's stuff, though, it led to a couple of I guess I could say I had a funny string of coincidences recently. So the first one, another hyperfixation that's been kind of resurging lately for me is the Roblox game called Pressure. And I found out that a couple of the voice actors who have done work for Pressure are also a couple of the voice actors who have done shit for Glitch.
Right, fair.
I knew from Pressure, the character everyone probably knows, Sebastian. I knew he was voiced by Gianni, and so when Gaslight was still being teased, when I found out that Breadhead was voiced by Gianni, it fucking freaked me out.
That is pretty cool, actually.
And then relatively recently, I'd say probably 3 weeks ago at this point, I was doing research for a purpose that might come in a video that will happen on my channel soon-ish, maybe. But when I was looking at the voice for the Navi AI, I saw the voice provider's name was Alana Fitzgerald. And that's Fitzy, the person who voices Mel in Gaslight District and Sin in Murder Drones.
Nice.
And then this one is completely unrelated, but this was just really funny to me. A few days ago, the TF2 summer update dropped, and one of the maps they added is called Pressure. And it looks like something from the fucking game.
Coincidence? I think not.
It probably is, but it's just really fun. The best thing I could say is the map creator just happens to like Pressure.
But, that's fair.
But it's still.
We also always have crazy fucking coincidences happen to us, though, so you never really know.
Yeah, no, it's some of the regular ass shit that's been going on with me.
How about you, Nate?
All right. Since Zach was talking about his hyperfixation earlier, I might as well talk about mine. For some reason, as of late, I recently got into had a hyperfixation of Ghostbusters. Now, Ghostbusters it, as everyone knows, is a pretty good film series, even though there
Sure,
are
sure.
some stinkers in there. But that's not the point. The point is that I didn't think I would see myself be obsessing over a series like that. Yeah, I love the movies and I loved a bit of the real Ghostbusters, but I didn't think it would be enough for me to obsess over it. Like right now, I'm actually imagining myself buying one of the classic suits that they wear in the movie,
That would
and
be sick.
or even a fucking replica proton pack, which normally everyone dreams of having, but here it's more of an obsession rather than a want. Like,
Fair, fair.
like if you, to be perfectly honest, like I definitely look like a hyper fan when it
Alright.
comes to Ghostbusters.
All right. Speaking of actually this, I just remembered. Um, it's been a while since the last podcast. So Secret of the Mimic came out.
It did. That wasn't out when we were doing it. Damn. Keep yapping. I'm gonna fact check real quick when the last episode we uploaded was.
So Secret of the Mimic came out, and I'm gonna say this up front and center. I think it is the best modern FNAF game so far.
Oh, 100%.
Really?
Yeah,
It
it absolutely is.
it in my opinion takes elements from all of the previous Steel Wool installments and just adjusts and improves where those failed. So you got like we're talking both Help Wanted, Security Breach, Ruin, just anything where you can think those games had a fumble. Secret of the Mimic improves upon it, and I think it has probably the most perfect gameplay loop we've seen in modern FNAF.
Y'all should go check out our playthrough on Cringe O'Clock. It's not fully out yet, but we did play the full thing. Also, I just checked the last podcast episode was March 20th.
Go
So
figure.
yeah, been a little bit.
About what?
Drugs 2, the Electric Boogaloo.
Oh yeah, that story.
We did 2 at the beginning of this month. The other one was America Loki Sucks. We shall have this one and then go on another 5-month hiatus.
Speaking of drugs, we got a really good story to tell you.
Yeah, but more on that later.
Stay till the end to hear it out.
But yeah, Nate, was there anything else you wanted to say? I know I got some stuff I kind of want to talk about.
No, if I kept talking more and more about Ghostbusters, I wouldn't. The episode wouldn't even start. So we'll move on to Miss Winter.
So I got a lot of small things here. I actually wrote shit down to talk about for once. Most of these are back in March, so I'm trying to remember the context, and I do for the most part. So you might remember this. So back when we were getting Oreos pretty regular, I had that pink sugar that I was using as props for fuck off juice and puppet sugar specifically, and it's like edible pink sprinkled sugar shit. I was going through a lot of different emotions at like the first couple months of this year. So I'm not proud of this, but at some point, what I would do is, listen, I'm fat. There's no getting around this, chat. But I would like lick the Oreos and then coat them in like those sprinkles. And I only remember doing that like for maybe 3 Oreos. I woke up the next morning and all of it was gone. All of it. I don't remember eating all of it. It was just gone. There wasn't an ounce of anything left. But if you think that was crazy, something that happened a month or so later, I don't have very good luck. But occasionally the universe decides to fuck with me by giving me really good luck on something that I just can't do. Because one day when I was at the local mall, I half-assed was like, oh, they have a giveaway for like a vacation thing. It was a trip to the Bahamas, and I was like, as a joke, just put my shit in. And about a month later, I got an email and text. I won the Bahamas giveaway, like a free, fully paid for thing. And I was like, well, fuck, I'm not gonna use this. I am the worst person you could have picked. It doesn't matter if it was fully paid for. What the fuck am I gonna do in the Bahamas? But I can't exactly put in the proof for the podcast, but you're just gonna have to take my word for it. The ultimate fucking irony there. It was kind of insane.
I mean, what would you get out of making this shit up?
I just can't even fucking believe it, because I'm like, there's just no, I've forgotten I had even done it. So it's just like, I had to text him and be like, give it to someone else, I guess. What do you have dangling from your mouth? Hey. Thank you. Sorry, guys. The pork chop was being all car-like. But, yeah, that was kind of a bit of what the fuck. But, I don't know. I also haven't really been up to the most eventful of things lately, mostly just kind of hanging out with my girlfriend, which kind of does segue into earlier in the month. We walked to the same mall I was talking about. Pretty hefty walk, you know, did a bunch of shopping and shit. And if you guys have seen like my spooky outro at all, you'll know I have like a plushie of the "Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared" duck guy. And it's there for a specific reason. I do have that plushie, but I remember specifically on the way back. I think about this all the time. On the way back, at some point we noticed, oh, it's not in the bag anymore. It must have fallen out. And we were like kind of just standing in front of the house for like 10 minutes having this moral conundrum where it's just like, it's hot. Do we go back? We paid money for this. And then out of nowhere, I swear to God, like a goddamn Darman video, this fucking green queer angel pops around the corner waving at us, holding the duck plushie. She's like, did you guys drop this? And I'm like, there's no fucking... It literally felt like one of those, like, what would you do skits. And I'm like, there's no shot. The most queer-looking person walks up to the other two most queer-looking people like, this looks like this is yours. Did you drop this? Or like, you know what? Yeah. And then she just went off about her bit. I hope whoever the fuck that was, like, won the lottery or something, because you can't... It felt scripted. This shit was actually kind of insane. And I'm like... It's one of those moments where I'm like, alright, I guess all of humanity isn't the fucking worst, because... What the fuck? I can't even believe it. I don't know how far back we dropped that. So, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of insane. But my last bit of news, speaking of queer, green-haired people, there's also me. My girlfriend got me to watch this movie called The People's Joker, which has kind of been unintentionally consuming my life lately, which, to boil it down to the specifics, is the woker. As I like to say, it's like a trans story, but told through a DC lens. And I don't know how to, like, hype it up anymore, but it is such a good movie. And inspired me to start trying to do clown makeup. So that's been a thing that's happening. I also have neon green hair. I don't want to just say that movie inspired me to make that choice, but it did. And I like my green hair a lot. So, it's kind of sick. And speaking of sick, so me and Nate did this crazy thing yesterday, segueing into our good old... So this podcast episode is like just funny stories from our life. It was originally going to be embarrassing childhood stories, but it's kind of shifted to just, we're going to tell you some funny real life stories that have happened to us and things that we did that maybe we're not the most proud of, and gonna start off right off the bat with what happened last night. Nate, you want to help me out with this, man? So give them a little context of what this thing is that we got.
Okay, so I don't know how I ended up with it. I don't even know how I'm even allowed to have this thing in my possession. But My dad gave me a little bit of uh, this butter. I have no idea where it came from, so don't question me on that.
Right,
But I got this butter, and I was warned that this stuff had THC in it.
right.
So my dad suggested that I should take some with me, so I did. And he kept warning me and Winter about how serious this stuff was because, like, this thing was loaded with more THC than even gummies.
You could smell that shit without even trying. I
Yeah,
feel like
like-
Zach can attest to that.
I literally I smelled the butter smeared on a piece of bread while actively holding it. I was tasting weed for 3 hours.
It was kind
All
of
I did was smell it.
it was literally a case where it smelled more like weed than butter.
Yeah.
So what me and Winter did, we each got a slice of bread and we basically dapped it up on there, but there was one simple problem. We both heavily underestimated how powerful
I hate to
shit
be the person that was like, we literally created the this edible ain't shit thing, but I definitely did, because for a little bit, because like Nate said, we each had one slice. And I'm not like a complete fucking idiot here. Like, I know shit like this takes a bit to kick in, but by a bit, it's usually like no more than an hour for shit like this. And I remember midway through, like I had one slice, and I was like towards like after an hour, I could feel like barely a little. I know it was hitting Nate hard.
It hit me way too hard.
And I was like, shit, I want to be at that level. Oh, what a terrible thing to ask for. Because I went ahead and then like, all right, because I also was being cocky and like, my tolerance is a lot higher. And to be fair, it is. I'm a bigger person, so I would usually need a little bit more, however. I got another piece, and I didn't put nearly as much, but also at this point it had like liquefied, so it was this extra nasty. This was where mistakes were made, because it started to really kick in at that point. I remember, Nate, you at one point you had just like fully passed out because you had like thrown up a bunch, and I think this was where
I thrown up twice.
Right. And I think this was already after I had the second piece, so I didn't really say anything at the time, but I was already starting to get a little worried at that point, because like I've been a placebo, but I started to feel a little sick. But knowing what happened now, I'm not so convinced it was just a placebo effect, because I at some point you two went and did something in the other room, and I don't normally have any issue getting high, like, by myself, like, ever. It's not really a problem I have. Holy shit, was it a problem this time? Because I just started to get extremely anxious, and to make matters worse, an absolute nightmare situation happened where a random fucking fire alarm in the house just started going off for literally no reason. I'm like, you can't make this shit up. Why now? And I hear the alarm, and I started fully spiraling and freaking out, which eventually turned into my, like, full body paralysis, and not like the type where you're like, oh, I'm so high, I'm just so chill and mellow. Like, yeah, you remember how I looked. I was, like, shaking and shit. I'm like, and again, I'm sure there's going to be some fuckhead out there that's like, oh, I do weed butter all the time. This is normal. What I'm explaining, it was probably just me greening out for the first time. I gotta be honest. But it felt like I was fucking dying. My heart was beating at 1,000,000 miles per hour. I felt so ill that eventually I just had to lay down because I could not move anymore. Driest my mouth has ever been. Again, when I say it out loud like this, it just sounds like I got too high. But, like, this is another level of, like, nightmare scenario. Like, we thought we were going to have a nice, fun time. Oh, no. And that fully convinced Zach not to do it at that point, I think.
Yeah.
But that shit was rough.
Yeah.
And I'd love to tell you never again, but we're probably going to do a little bit after this.
Yeah.
Granted, we know what not to do now.
And we're also going to do it slightly differently.
Yeah, but that was really fucking
Yeah.
embarrassing.
Remember, the one word you need before doing drugs: moderation.
Please make sure to microdose on shit. Don't go in all cocky because you will make yourself look like an asshole. But there's our starter. I'll let one of you guys take the floor now before I go into the rest of my stuff.
So in case we haven't made the theme obvious, it's embarrassing childhood stories, or at least being in the ballpark.
Yeah, just funny stories from our life too. I'll probably call it embarrassing childhood stories because that makes a better title. But you know.
Oh, buddy, do I have a couple.
All right, you want to go ahead because we mostly took the stage for that one.
So this first one, my first one dates back to kindergarten, and this is something I've never fucking talked about.
Okay.
So when I was in kindergarten, there was this girl that I knew,
Mm-hmm.
and for the sake of privacy, I don't even know why I still remember her name, but I'm not saying it.
Yeah, maybe come up.
But I think somewhere in my stupid little kid brain, or at least somehow I convinced myself this was the case, something in my brain said, I liked her.
Right.
And one day I just made what my brain thought was a funny passing comment to her because I heard it on a dumb show.
Uh-oh.
And she didn't think much of it. Call it that childhood ignorance, I guess, that filter.
Right.
But when I look back on it and I think on the story, I realize that if two people were to enact the exact same scenario as adults,
Right.
that would be
Jail time?
That would be it. I mean, I don't know if it would qualify for jail time, but it would definitely be creepy.
What did you say?
I don't want to say it.
Oh, you gotta tell me afterwards. Now I want to know.
It was just, it's not even that funny or bad. It's just some dumb pickup line. But
That's fair.
The way I did it was it's one of those things where the childhood ignorance filter.
Right. The only thing saving it.
Yeah, is it was really dumb, and also like I said, if an adult tried the same thing, the dude would probably look a little creepy.
I actually kind of have one that is kind of a good segue there because I also did a lot of stupid shit in school. And I remember specifically, I was a really stupid kid for a bunch of different reasons, but one of the ones, I think it was maybe second grade, I want to say. I was really fucking young. All I remember because this shit stayed with me for a while. And I had this friend that we would constantly pass notes to. We sat right next to each other, and I would just tear up paper, and we would write random shit to each other. And this was right around the time I hung out at my friend's house a lot, and he had an older brother that just never censored himself around us. So I picked up on some words I shouldn't have known that young pretty early on, and one of those words was cock. Did not know at all what that meant. He told me it meant chicken. So at one of the points, I remember tossing my friend a note that just said, "What is cock?" And the teacher caught me right then at that note. And I'm like, I didn't fucking know any better, but I know that looked really bad because my friend immediately wrote back. She's like, I think it means penis. It was not even bad. We were just genuinely informing each other, but I'm like, damn, that probably looked really bad. But yeah, that's that's one of the worst things I've done when I was younger.
Yeah.
Again, it's that kind of childhood innocence type thing, but also, I don't know.
That's it. That's one of those things. That's why fucking like this is one of the things I find really fucking stupid. This is why things like you know Sailor Mouth, the episode of SpongeBob that's
Yeah, of
about
course.
swearing. For some reason, it got banned
Did it?
at least somewhere. And the reason was because apparently some fucking dumbass parents who had seen it were like, oh, this promotes swearing. When anyone who's watched the full episode will have you know,
Isn't that like the opposite?
the ending was rather infamous for SpongeBob, Patrick, and even Mr. Krabs getting punished by Krabs' mom for swearing.
Yeah. Man, I hated that shit when, like, you would, like, hang out with someone and like, oh, I'm not allowed to watch SpongeBob. Because I was fucking one of those people for a long time. You know what I was allowed to watch? Fucking freaky-ass iCarly. Why was I allowed to watch that and not SpongeBob? Go ahead and try to tell me what kind of logic that is. Because
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't know. I don't know if this would count as on topic, but it does kind of segue into something, I guess.
Okay.
So there's an infamous like visual novel game that's like kind of become, well, again, I say infamous very recently. That being a game called The Coffin of Andy and Lele.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And anyone who has heard it before knows
Oh,
it's because
no.
the game kind of dwells on topics of incest.
Oh, God.
And it has
Literally, you saying the name of that made like the shell shock soldier meme appear in my head. I'm like, you know, like the guy
Can
just blankly staring forward with like war in the background.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
immediately what I
the
thought of.
1,000-yard stare.
I'm like,
So-
oh God,
Hold
oh
on.
no,
I would like to actually finish my thought, please.
I'm scared.
So, this has become a talking point among some of my Discord friend circles because they are pretty much just as unhinged as we are.
Right.
And probably the closest friend that I have on Discord exclusively and I were talking about this game, and we made a talking point of like, it is stupid that people hate this game for dwelling on the topic, because if you actually have seen the game, it makes a point that the entire point of the game is that incest is bad.
Isn't there also an ending where they fuck each other though?
Okay, I've looked.
I could just be ignorant. I just haven't really looked at this game intentionally.
The point of the game is that the point of the game is that incest is bad because Ashley, the instigator, like the one of the two who instigated, is very much not a bad person, because she is a horrendously bad person because she manipulates her brother into being a serial killer, among other things. She's clearly a mentally ill and insane person.
Right.
And she's the one who instigates those habits into him. So like the very clear point of the game is not to celebrate the topic. It's
Right.
that it's bad.
Okay.
And this is like games, movies, whatever should not be gate kept from dwelling on
No,
topics.
that is fair. I feel like you should be able to tackle like fucked up themes as long as like it's clear you're not supporting it. You know?
Where something like this becomes problematic is if it's something like this one game that got banned off of Steam because it actually was kind of just glorifying sexual crime.
Lovely. Ugh.
Yeah, so Steam straight up banned it off of the
Good.
platform.
So many freaky ass games on Steam.
Yeah, no. But I've made a point to my friend, like, I'll buy the game and I'll go through it because it's a choose your own path. Fun fact, you can get through the game without a hint of incest at all.
Oh, sick.
But I told my friend I was going to buy the game and go through it just to genuinely see how good or bad the game is so I can give an actual unbiased opinion.
Right.
Because I feel like that's just fair.
Yeah, probably.
If the game's shit, then the game's shit. But, like, worst case scenario, all I've done is, like, I've bought the creator, like, 2 Wendy's combos. Like,
Fair enough, you know? I weirdly have a good segue for that, too, unless, Nate, there's something you specifically want to talk about.
I think it's just better to save mine for last because pretty much all of mine are just revolved around me getting hurt.
Well, I'm going to save my big one for last, because it's, like, the big one I wrote down for this. But I have 2 more smaller ones. I'll use the one that can transition into that well, because you said burger. So let me put a little context. As a kid, and even now, I have like a very overactive imagination, but especially when I was younger. I fucking, I believed in Santa, I think, till I was like 16 or probably more 15. Keep in mind that I was in mental hospitals at these ages too, so it's not like I was just sitting on my ass at home thinking that. I needed something good to believe in. And literally, I would always save Christmas at the end of the year. I'm like, all right, I just got to make it to Christmas. Santa's going to make everything better. Until eventually that was completely crushed for me. And now I fucking hate Christmas. But that's aside the point. When you mentioned like the meal thing, I wanted to give that context for my overactive imagination. Because one time, back when McDonald's still had, like the play places and shit, I think I might have been like 7 or 8 when this happened. Probably 7, because I was semi-conscious, I think. I have some memory of this. There was 2 other kids there dressed in full Mario and Luigi costumes. It did not for once cross my mind that these were 2 random kids in costumes. This was Mario and Luigi to me. And this autistic kid version of me was just following them around the entire time. And I was like, please, Mario, Luigi, I need an autograph. And I'm like, I remember clearly, like, looking back on it now, I was definitely annoying the shit out of those 2. But I'm like, I need your autograph. And then kept trying to go back to, like, find something. And then I brought him, like, a receipt paper and some ketchup on a fry to write with. I don't know what was going on with me, but that was really Mario and Luigi for me.
that's a really fucking good one, actually. I can't lie. That's really funny.
And I constantly wonder, I'm like, damn, I wonder if they remember me at all, because that is genuinely one of my more embarrassing things, because I'm like, I'd love to view that from an outsider standpoint, I'd love to see those costumes now, because I bet they were shit. But in my head, that was really Mario and Luigi. Those were the real dudes.
I have the opposite problem. I always think about awkward scenarios from an outside perspective, and that's why I hate awkward humor.
Nah, that's fair. I was just so fucking oblivious as a kid.
I got one. Okay, so I wrote down a couple before this episode because I was really struggling before this episode, a little behind the scenes. I managed to write down a few. This is one I can look back at and kind of laugh at because, I was younger. Can't really blame me for it.
Right.
And also autistic, but...
Also a big contributor.
But this is just something I can actually look back on and kind of just laugh at. I'm like, is it embarrassing? Yeah, but like, everyone's probably had this kind of phase in their life.
Right.
So I had 2 big phases when I was younger around 2 cartoons on Nickelodeon. When I was really, really young, this phase was Paw Patrol.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you've never seen it, basically it's about like this dude. This dude has like a team of dogs that are like emergency respondents.
What's the dog doing?
And they're sentient and they could talk. There were 2 characters that I liked specifically, that being Marshall, who was a clumsy firefighter or sometimes an EMT. And again, the only reason I even remember this was because when I was really, really young, this was a huge autistic hyperfixation for me. That's just kind of a core memory sitting in my skull. And the other was Sky, who was a pilot.
Okay.
And I don't know why I was obsessed with those two in particular, but I was. I just liked their characters, I guess, and I think something the show dwelled upon was that they usually had a lot in common. I think, if I remember correctly, though, the romantic interest the show implied was with a different two.
Okay.
It was like Sky and one of the other ones. I think it was the police one.
Listen, man, A Cab includes the Paw Patrol. My friend has a shirt that says that. Anyway, keep going.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, no, that died out. That died out. Eventually. And what took the place then was the Loud House. That also
Right.
took up a very autistic hyperfixation of my brain.
Yeah, they
And
got like a live action show now.
yeah, I heard about that.
I only know because every time I go over to Ray's house, that's just like always on the TV for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, apparently nowadays Nick is just getting rid of fucking everything that isn't SpongeBob or Loud House.
I guess so.
But yeah, no, I can defend that one a little better because I can say this: when I was actively into Loud House, the show wasn't dog shit.
That's also fair.
But like the modern seasons, especially after one particular episode, again, it's a name I remember because of just how much of my life that fucking had grip on my autism. But it was the episode No Such Luck. People fucking hated that episode, and the show just went downhill.
Goddamn.
But yeah, no, I the show I can't even blame people for this one. Usually when it comes to shows or any media, you always got to say separate the people from the fandom. And with Loud House, you really got to take that seriously because the Loud House fandom is probably some of like the actual biggest degenerates on the planet.
That's fair. That's fair.
Fun fact. This is a fun fact. The world record for longest written English piece is a Loud House fan fiction. I'm not even joking.
Seriously?
What the fuck? What?
I'm not. I wish I could.
That makes me sad as a human being.
I wish I could lie about this, but yeah, no. Similar to Paw Patrol, Loud House had a big grip on my autism for a portion of my younger life.
Sorry, what does a person have to have happen to them that they sit for hours and write something like that? What has to have happened to someone for that? I can't wrap my head around that. What the fuck?
To pile on to the embarrassment of this, so I feel like the term fan fiction carries a lot of negative connotation because there's obviously the ones who just
people usually just assume it defaults to porn, and that's not the case.
It's not the case at all. I've written a couple, but I've seen ones that are actually like insanely good. There was this one dude who wrote like 3. They were admittedly they were also kind of embarrassingly long, but they were actually really fucking well written. I hope whoever that person is, they actually like start doing their own books because I feel like they can actually find success doing it. I'm not even joking.
If you're that person, comment the entire fanfic down in the comments below.
No.
Please don't do that. I think I've read one fanfic ever, and it was for the cryptid Big Ass from Mark's video. Someone wrote like a 5-page long essay with like other cryptid sightings of Big Ass. God, I need to find that. It's actually pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah, no, those two Nick shows for a good portion of my younger life had really big grips on my autism.
That's definitely fair.
Well,
Nate, you want to share something?
I do have. I did manage to scrounge up at least one, and this one I'm actually less ashamed for some reason. Um, have you ever had that one kid in school who, for some reason, just sniffed glue?
Kinda.
Well, in my case,
It
this
was
actually
always
happened.
more eating glue than
Well, this
sniffing
actually
glue.
happened a while back. Think of this as like a three-parter. The first time, it was the end of the school year. This was when I was meeting up with these two idiots here. We were chilling by the pool or whatever, and I
Oh, I
believe it
remember
was
that.
Winter, who jokingly,
Oh, it's this one.
jokingly, acted out snorting out some what was it?
Pixie sticks.
Pixie sticks.
I
Well-
remember this.
Well, as for me, I thought you actually did it.
This is such a vital
So I
story
poured
in
some
our
into
friendship.
my hand, then put it up to my face and just went.
Yeah,
And then I
you.
just fucking coughed.
I
my
remember
fucking
you
lungs out.
full sent that shit. You didn't really hesitate either.
Bro, Nate, you just re-unlocked a core memory.
I remember being in that exact moment when that. I was definitely joking.
I remember the look on your face.
Well, this
Jesus
isn't even.
Christ.
Well, that wasn't even the only
Oh,
time where I snorted something.
I was hoping you were gonna share that. Holy shit. That is such a vital story in our friendship. Holy shit. I remember that so well.
It might as well have been the thing that started our whole friendship to begin with.
It might be, actually.
The second time was actually a different time where it was nighttime. I wasn't around anyone. And this happened like way after that whole event happened, where I just started randomly snorting up stuff with a straw. And this second time,
Just to see what smells good.
and the second time it was baking soda,
Oh my god.
and it was real bad.
That sounds like it could cause physical damage.
it did probably. So when I
Have you
cleaned out
Have you seen a doctor
have
about
you
this?
recently developed asthma?
when I cleaned out my nose, I noticed that a bit of the baking soda was red. so-
Jesus fucking Christ, man.
And then the third one, this one's actually the lesser side of things.
Oh my god.
I tried to snort pizza seasoning.
Why? What? Like the crushed red peppers?
It was no.
Okay.
It was like this weird powdered stuff that you.
like the Parmesan cheese?
Yes, it was exactly that. It came out in this
Jesus
little packet,
Christ.
just fucking poured it out on the counter there, straightened it up like I was doing some fucking coke or whatever,
What
and stored that shit up, and
compels
then
you
just.
to do this?
I don't know, man.
Man, you got Swiss brain.
Man, I guess for some reason I was just that one kid who just decided to start.
Why
snorting.
was that your thing?
I don't know.
Hey, I used to. You talk about sniffing glue. I used to actually straight up, like, they had to stop giving me the glue bottle in first grade because I would just chug it. Like, I'm not even fucking kidding. I would legitimately just chug the glue. It started because my friend was like, this says non-toxic, so you can eat it. And I was just like, say less. And I became known for that, all of that grade. It was definitely first grade because the teacher said to stop giving me glue.
Yeah, it just.
So I never did something like that, and the reason why, funny enough, was because when I was roughly in first grade, I watched or like around this age, I never did it in general,
Right.
but like when I was in elementary school, I watched Powerpuff Girls, and I remember
Goated show.
there's this one episode where there's this character whose name is Elmer Sklew, and his whole
Nice.
shtick
I've
was
seen this episode.
his whole shtick was eating glue. There's this one episode where he accidentally eats an irradiated fly that lands in his glue, and he
Oh.
turns into this giant fucking glue monster.
I believe
Jesus
it was
Christ.
Pace Not Want Not was the episode it was called. I believe it was like the 6th episode.
I was just always the kid that everyone dared to, like, drink this weird thing I made, and I was usually the one that did it.
I was so something I realized a problem I had as a kid was I was super unhesitant to eat shit off the floor.
Fair.
To an extent,
Wait, you did the same?
I was when something dropped on the floor, I would not hesitate to just grab it and eat it. And
If it looks good enough to me, I'll fucking eat it.
and
I feel like it depends on what it is for me.
I think that's actually part of the reason why my immune system is so good.
Yeah,
I mean, it would make sense.
Because I exposed myself to shit.
I mean, fair enough.
I can't believe you did that.
You don't
shit
get
too.
sick very often.
No.
So you're telling
I mean,
me
I'd buy it.
If I get sick, it's a problem.
you're telling me you ate off the floor?
I would pick shit like I would be at lunch. I'd drop a French fry. I would just.
Brother,
Oh,
I would
God.
do the same shit.
I just remembered something that I didn't write down. This one is like actually, I think, the most embarrassing thing I could tell.
Is this the last
And
part?
no, I still have like one small one and like my big one.
Well,
that-
all right.
all right.
before
I
you-
have one big one that's like is the reason I thought of this
Well,
episode. I'm saving that for the end.
Well, before you tell your story on that one,
Yeah, you guys got anything else you want to share?
I do want to do.
I
Kind of like
have one. I have one more story to tell. This one isn't really childhood, but it's kind of embarrassing looking back on it.
My short one's not from my childhood either.
I'll say this. I'll tell mine right before you do your finisher.
Okay. Well, I got one small one real quick that I said is the most embarrassing one that I literally I forgot to write this down. Either I forgot or I purposely did. It's too late now, and now that I remembered, I have to tell it. I was a weird fucking kid in like specifically middle school. I was a really big asshole, but I was also just a fucking weirdo. I like to think that I'm a much better person now. But I did some weird shit because I didn't understand social cues like at all. I didn't really register when shit was awkward, or maybe I shouldn't have done that, because I found pretty much anything cool, to the extent where I had this thing called the fart piano when I was a kid, which is, I promise, is literally exactly what you think it is. Literally. And this same company made this other product. I was obsessed with like gross stuff as a kid,
very 90s.
and I had this thing called Pudo, which is also exactly
I've
what you think
seen-
it is. Yeah.
I've seen that before.
It was brown, and they had a little bit of yellow in there too, like Play-Doh essentially, and it came with like two literal piece of shit molds for it. And I remember, this isn't even the most embarrassing part, by the way. I would constantly make that shit, literally. And one time, I accidentally left it in my desk. I got called down to the guidance counselor for something. It wasn't about this, weirdly enough, but it was about something. I don't remember what. And I was in there long enough that class had ended, and I had still left the shit in my desk. So the teacher had to go up to me with shit in his hand and it's like, "Is this yours?" with the most absolutely bewildered expression on his face. And I don't even think I was embarrassed. I'm like, "Oh yeah, my bad." And I just grabbed it. But that isn't even the most deplorable thing I did.
What was it?
So during like this exact same time frame, I was living with, I don't know, my mom's kind of a fucking whore and would constantly be dating new guys, and we were with this one dude at the time that he had a daughter that kept dildos in her room.
Okay then.
I took two of them and just brought them to school. I carried them around and I was showing people like it was something that was cool. And I'm like, I look back on this now and I'm like, that's so fucked. And how have I not had long-lasting life problems from that? I would just be telling my friends, I carried them in like this like dark black bag, and I would constantly go up to my friends and I'm like, "Hey, You'll never believe what I have in here. Just like, I remember saying it in the most smug way. I'm like, you'll never guess what I got here. Go on, guess. Nope, 2 dicks.
They probably thought you were gonna pull out drugs. But
That probably would have been less awkward looking.
Just you wait till I start showing up with drugs.
Can you imagine how long it took me to figure out I was gay? That shit's nuts. The signs were there all along. That was like 3rd grade. That is one of the few things I genuinely look back on in actual embarrassment, because what the fuck was I doing? That was like a day after the poop shit, by the way. Like, barely 24 hours apart. I don't know what the fuck was wrong with me as a kid, but oh my god.
oh,
It was bad.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So I think in terms of the episode, that is my most embarrassing childhood story. And now you all on the internet know that forever. So, but I have one more small one before my big one, and I'll say this small one really quickly, because this one was a lot more recent. It was like, I think it was probably last year, like towards the beginning.
Okay.
2024 was filled with a lot of regret for me, but a few really funny things did happen. I would constantly go to the cemetery, or just cemeteries in general, and this part I'm saying wasn't common. I just decided to get really high at a cemetery once. I didn't normally do that, but it was like, yeah, it was definitely 2024, because it was like cold. There was snow on the ground. It was February. I went to this other one, and it was like, I was gonna like go farther in, like to the cemetery, but the ground was like frozen and wet, and the farther you went in the cemetery, you would like sink into the ground, and I'm like, this is the worst place to sink into the ground at. So I went back to like the mausoleum entrance, and like at this point I had like fully finished like a really big joint at this time. I look up in the sky, and there is like a tube of flashing lights going across the sky that, I kid you not, is the most UFO looking shit I have ever seen in my life. I start full blown like, whoa, like hands on my head, like that one meme, like what the fuck, what?
Like, dude,
The hands on head.
Like, I am sitting here genuinely freaking out, because I'm like, that's not a plane. That's literally one of the first things I said. That's not a fucking, what is that? And the person I was with, like, frantically looking shit up, like, what could this be? Because I had never seen anything like that. Turns out, I don't remember if it was like a NASA thing, or the fucking muskrat was doing something with his stupid ass spaceships, but apparently it was something like that. I think it was NASA doing like, turn that off, man. I think it was NASA like doing like some space launch thing that I was just painfully unaware of, but it was like bright green lights flashing across the sky, like moving in a pattern, and I'm like, that, like, me high out of my mind, I'm like, this is it. The fucking aliens are here, man. This is it. Like, genuinely, like, I lost all hope for living at that point. I was so scared. And I was like, this is it. No way. Because I remember hearing, like, people, like, nearby stopping in cars yelling out, like, what is that? I'm like, oh no, it's happening. But yeah, it turns out it was just some space launch. I'm like, but the timing, right? That's nuts. And that's probably one of my more recent embarrassing stories that happened.
Yeah, I got one.
All right, let's hear it.
So nowadays, I don't really give super much of a fuck about figuring out all the, because I'm a big FNAF fan.
Right.
Nowadays, I don't really give much of a fuck about, like, being MatPat and figuring out the timeline and shit.
Fair.
And the embarrassing part is how that started. So, what...
This is going to start where I think it's going to start.
Probably starting December of, I think, like, 2019 or 2020.
Depending on what you're about to say, I'll know the date.
So I had this random ass crack thought
This is definitely what I think it is.
about the main family. That
Alright,
being,
this is definitely what I think it is.
the Afton family.
Of course.
And I thought about the fact that every single one of those motherfuckers came back to life in a meaningful way, except the goddamn FNAF 4 kid who still has no fucking official name yet.
Right.
Fucking a theorist called Hyperdroid hyper-analyzed the logbook years later and has pretty damning evidence that the solution was probably Dave, but
Right.
it's hard to tell.
Who fucking knows?
Um,
We've kind of defaulted to calling him Evan at this point.
But basically, my point is to make this short, leading up to Security Breach and a good time after, I'd say like 3 years total in time span. I was going on this on and off when it came to my hopes of like trying to prove that it was being set up that
He's got to make a return.
that the soul of this kid would come back as a meaningful character, and obviously every time I would find nothing because, well, we all know that never fucking happened. In hindsight, the entire Steel Wool era is kind of like a very isolated story.
Yeah.
It's still in the same timeline, but it is like so isolated, and it's much more clear that that's the case now. Apparently, it was going to be very clear because the Tales from the Pizzaplex books were actually going to start coming out around the same time as Help Wanted was, but due to book and game delays being different, that didn't end up happening. And this is why I think cross-media lore is a terrible idea. Secret of the Mimic disproved Tales games anyway, so it doesn't even matter anymore.
That's also fair.
I'm
looking for the video that like proves this date.
But basically my main point was for about 3 years, I was probably the most fucking crackhead FNAF theorist on YouTube's platform, aside from Blackfoot Ferret. Someone get that guy help. But yeah, no, and looking back on it, a lot of the shit that I've said...
You still got any hope?
A lot of the shit I said was really fucking stupid, and I can accept that. Someone, it's at the point where, like, if someone even tried to make fun of me for it, I would just be like, okay.
Listen.
Like, I really wouldn't take offense because, like, what's your point?
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's kind of who I was for a while, and it got to a point where I had a just sudden epiphany that it was like really not doing well on my mental, so I resigned from just theorizing in general, and ever since I have just been a go with the flow motherfucker.
Yeah.
I do not care about solving the exact little details about the story. I don't give a fuck about any of that anymore. And I did it for the sake of not being fucking insane.
What being wrong enough does to a man.
The only liberation I can say I've had is that the interactive novel series started, which is for the most part connected to the game universe. And the week before, which is about, as the name implies, it's Phone Guy's week-long shift before
Right.
Mike gets the job in FNAF 1. It turns out that the week before pretty much establishes that, first of all, Golden Duo, where it's the FNAF 4 kid and the missing children's victim Cassidy in Golden Freddy, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
But the dynamic everyone thought they had is backwards. Cassidy is like this weird, just silly girl, and meanwhile, the FNAF 4 kid is this absolutely fucking lunatic, angry, pissed off motherfucker who craves endless destruction.
Wouldn't you if you were him?
That's
Bro really got the short end of the stick with his death.
See, it's funny that you ask that as if it's obvious, because that was one of my main driving points and why I was like the way I was for those 3 years.
You were at least right about that.
I was like, this kid has every reason to be pissed off and come back. And I guess to an extent I was right, because the week before happened, Scott, Jesus Christ, you're killing me, man.
Nah, yeah, I remember. I couldn't find the fucking video, but I think it was like 2020, like the start of it. Because I remember you had me put out a video about it.
Yeah, no. Looking back on it, I said stupid shit. Like I said, if someone even tried to make fun of me for it, I'm at the point where I'm just like, okay. Like, you wouldn't even offend me.
That's fair. Pork Chop, do you got any embarrassing stories you want to tell? Oh.
How about the fact that he keeps getting shit stuck on him?
Oh, Pork Chop, you're gross. Nate, did you have anything else you wanted to tell before I end with my big one?
Two simple examples. These aren't necessarily compare. They don't necessarily compare to the previous stories I was talking about, but they are definitely embarrassing in the sense of I felt humiliated.
Okay.
First one took place in middle school, where I was taking an innocuous flask to school.
Oh, I remember that, actually.
It was a very big black a flask that had a picture of a stormtrooper on it.
I don't think I knew you guys during this.
And I would normally carry like water and stuff in there because I really didn't have any.
I assume it was a very clearly a flask type thing.
Oh, no, it absolutely looked
and
like...
I got in trouble for it.
It absolutely... I'm
because-
going to be honest, it 100% looked like Nate was smuggling alcohol into the school.
And the thing was, I wasn't trying to hide anything. It was just a convenient thing to carry.
It's just another one of those childhood ignorance type of thing.
And I got in trouble for it because I thought I was bringing in alcohol, and I'm like, "But do you know how old I am?"
It's a water bottle, you fucking idiot.
But there is another one that's even worse. This was in elementary school when I was in. I'll just say this once, Lincolnshire, because I don't go there anymore. I brought a fucking bat to class once.
I feel like that's not even as bad as the flask.
I brought a literal fucking bat to school. And the thing was, they confiscated it from me, making me think, because I guess they thought that it was a weapon, which, why would you assume that?
I feel like you calling it a weapon entirely depends on what you're doing with it.
But here's the thing.
Like, if...
I was doing nothing with that bat. I just had it with me.
Someone who's old enough to comprehend violence, I'd say that's probably fair. But like, if a fucking like second grader brings in a baseball bat, I wouldn't think anything of it.
And the thing was, it was a cool looking bat. It was a Cal Ripken Jr. baseball bat, and it got confiscated from me, and I never got it back.
That's fine.
Ever. They basically stole my bat because they assumed that a little kid was gonna beat the shit out of someone with it.
All right, you know what?
That's pretty fucked.
You know what? You're not supposed to call out people directly on YouTube, but fucking Lincolnshire, y'all bitches owe us a baseball bat.
Fuck you!
Well, I wasn't calling anyone out. I'm just saying.
Nah, but they stole your shit. That's fucked.
Y'all bitches owe my man his baseball bat.
Honestly. My address is 6 foot. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. I think it's time for your story. Is it?
Anyone have anything else? This one isn't like super embarrassing. It's just the reason I wanted to do this episode.
Nah, I've exhausted pretty much anything I wanted to talk about.
Okay, so as a kid, I hated how boring life was, right? Like, I found out just kind of at a very early age, just life was pretty fucking boring. Which is, I think, why I had such an overactive imagination. I was constantly trying to find stuff to do. I didn't even have, like, my first mobile device till I was, like, 13. I don't know. So for most of my childhood, I would find other shit to do. And I lived in a very boring town with some very gullible friends. And I ended up creating a whole town-wide rumor somehow. The rumor was that there was a witch in the woods, and damn near every kid in the school, that shit was being spread around like wildfire. And I was such a little fucking schemer. I had perfectly conceptualized this plan and I executed it flawlessly, getting everyone to believe that there was a witch. And let me tell you how I did it. So I watched a fuck ton of Goosebumps as a kid, which is what I'm pretty sure gave me the idea to have it be a witch. There was like a local park, like where I lived as a kid, and behind it was like a pretty like, I don't know, like decent hefty bit of wood behind it. I'm convinced if I go back there now, it's probably barely any at all. But in the woods, there was like this old, like kind of hunting shack type of thing. Because it was like a historic town. I think before it was a town, it was just all woods. So there was like a couple things like that here and there. But it was like more of like a little house, kind of like a little shack, I would say. And it clearly abandoned. And I started getting this idea in my head. I'm like, because we always like just got really creeped out whenever we went back there, and we'd always joke with each other. I don't remember exactly how I got the idea that it was a witch, but I remember like that night I went home, and I was also like just obsessed with like making shit. And I crafted this box of potions. It was different water bottles, different like I took like cans of food and like tore the labels off so they were just nameless cans. I filled water bottles and shit with food coloring, and I created all, and I put them in like these like different like plastic and glass bottles, and I chucked that out in the woods in that box, and I wrote "Beware" on it, and I like buried it like next to the old hunting shack, because I knew the next day me and my friends were gonna go back there, because we kind of did that like every day after school. That was like our thing we do. We went and hung out at the woods and ended by walking through the woods to get home. I made sure they found it, and we started like this whole fucking thing, and we each like took some of the bottles, and this rumor started spreading like wildfire, and people that I didn't even know had to be contributing to it, because I remember being like seeing someone like put like an old witch hat there another day. So I was like, somehow never got the idea that like you would think I would have been like, oh no, shit's here that I didn't put. There's probably an actual witch. I don't know how I didn't fall for that, because I was also a very gullible child. I was like, oh, someone's doing me a solid right now. Because I don't know, I always wanted something cool and mysterious to happen in my boring ass town. So I like crafted this legend, and I remember just that shit got like spread to the whole school, and it like remained like a town legend for like 2 years, until one day I was hanging out with my friend and we had the box. Remember how I said I just had random food cans that I took the labels off and stuff? We never bothered opening these, and eventually one of the ones that I assume was fish started to rot, and his mom brought it up to us, and she fully pieced it all together, because I was a bad liar to adults. Apparently all the kids bought it, but my reign of terror ended that day. But for a long time I had my entire town convinced there was a witch living out in the woods, and I think that's pretty cool. I don't know, it's I don't know, I always wanted something cool to happen. It was insane how long people believed that. But yeah, that was my urban legend story. I know, nothing too crazy considering some of the other stuff I said, but one of the cooler things I managed to pull off. I was a bad liar, but I was good at gaslighting people. So, I don't know. Take that as you will. It did. I think I came up with the idea for a witch because like dead rabbits would always just appear around there, so I like use that to. I think it's because people just actually hunted there still sometimes, if I'm being honest. And I think I use that to help me like craft the legend and shit. But yeah, I guess that about does it for this episode. We've been going for hour 10 minutes, which is about what I thought we were gonna do. So, anyone got any last minute things they want to add?
No.
Expect something big to happen on my channel.
That's fair.
That's all I'll say.
I might do stuff on mine at some point.
I got gaming videos coming out. I don't know. I recorded some stuff. Probably gonna record some more stuff. I don't know. Look forward to the future. Bye.
Bye.
Peace.